I was just over listening to Steve Hoka's live stream over there. That's probably where I've been for the last hour. Seems like hell by the dashboard lights up here doing a show tonight as well. So I guess tonight's the popular night for dating scene topics, huh? You know, right now Steve has a guest on there who reminds me of me, except for he's a lot younger. He's the one that left his wife, that they're now separated. Okay, the stuff that he's talking about is 100% correct. Most women in today's society have become men. They want the man's role, plus they want the woman's role. They just don't want the responsibility that the man has. That's really what that comes down to. They want to have the man's role, they want to have the woman's role, and the only thing that women want to leave for men in today's society is the responsibilities. They don't want anything to do with responsibility. And that is the majority of the women. And so I figured I'd jump up here again tonight, and I would do a little bit on the dating scene topics. And as you can see, I have them all laid out there for you to look at. Yep. Okay, and that's correct. 80% of the suicides in this country are men. That is no lie. That's pretty much accurate. And then, of course, we have TFL, and TFLers in denial. MGTOW, men going their own way. And the majority of MGTOW, men going their own way, is exactly that. TFLers. Men who cannot get somebody in their life. They don't recognize what's really going on in today's society. This has all been socially engineered. I heard them bringing up Tinder over on Steve's show. And they were talking about Tinder for a little while over there. And I don't even know if most of these people that are in the dating scene topics understand that Tinder, well, Chelsea Clinton's on the board. 100% government involvement. None of this is an accident. I hear them talk about, oh, well, if they could go mainstream, or if I've even heard them talk about Dr. Phil. You mean fake Dr. Phil? He's not a real doctor. TFL's never going to hit mainstream. That's not going to happen. It's not an accident that society's in the shape it's in when it comes to the genders. It really isn't. And I don't know that there's a lot of people out here that want to recognize that or not. But the truth of the matter is TFL is quite real. It's going on. It's been going on. It's only growing. It's not going to get any smaller anytime soon. And there's nothing I can do to change that, okay? It's always been socially engineered. From the top right on down, it's no accident. It's not an accident that people don't know how to have relationships with each other anymore. That people don't know how to treat each other anymore. You have your mainstream media. You have your music. You have Hollywood. You have so many things on the cause of it. I mean, what do people really think is going to happen when you have a society filled full of male bashing and then the opposite's reported to you all the time? Think about it. Sitcoms, commercials, movies, are literally dedicated. There's thousands of them with nothing but male bashing in them. Male bashing, putting the man down, and building the woman up. Now, what's our music? Our music sings about how beautiful it is, how much love is, and blah, blah, blah. And the music's even dedicated to the woman. And you have a lot of songs that are dedicated to putting the man down as well. So you grow up in a society where everything's smashing the male, and then the men are more divided than anything. The men, for competition, because everything's been turned into a game, a sport, an arena, are all busy fighting one another for the approval of the female. At one time it used to be the women were all chasing after bad boys, but that's not so much anymore. Now the women are chasing after the simps. The guy who will be the perfect slave. That's right, the guy who will listen to her command. The guy that won't challenge her. The guy that won't stand up for himself. The guy that'll just bend over and do the honey-do list. Yes, honey. Yes, honey. Whatever you say, honey. Yes, honey. And most of these men are in fear of losing her because they don't want to be alone again. And for the men that's actually gotten kids, they not only have the fear of being alone again, but unless they got the stuff together and a really good income and are prepared to walk into the family court with enough money to fight back, they're not going to get their kids. They're going to lose their kids, and they're going to be paying alimony and child support for years to come. And they know this. So that what does that do? That keeps men trapped into relationships that they're not happy. The majority of relationships in today's society is turned to drama. And that's really what they are, is drama. Dramas replace love. Dramas replace love. You know, and I heard them over there talking about women are humping and dumping men. You know, you see these people talking about pump and dump. These guys always talk about pump and dump. And you got a epidemic of women now doing that to men. Well, of course they are. They don't have any incentive to stay with you. They make more through the government than they do to stay with you. I mean, you know, I've seen enough of it. You got women out here who will hook up with you long enough to get your kid if she likes what she sees, dump you and move to another guy long enough to get their kid, dump them, and they'll have 4 or 5 kids all by different fathers. And then they'll use the court system and go after child support from each and every one of them fathers. And this is what they'll live on. Now, of course, this is not 100% across the board all women, but there's a whole bunch of that going on. But to be honest, for men that are living TFL that can't even get a woman in their life, you have your TV set, your media, the fashion industry, and the modeling industry in Hollywood to thank for that. Because that's a social conditioning, it's programming. And that's really what it is, it's programming. It's social engineering. It's been deliberately done to divide and conquer, to break up the family unit. And that's exactly what they've done. You can't get that through to a lot of people. I try and I try and I try, you know. But you also got a lot of people that are still asleep to what's really going on. They don't understand where it comes from when I tell you to look for the root cause. I do that deliberately. You got people up here that are speaking out. Okay? You know, and you got another person who has showed up recently, from what I can tell on YouTube. Okay? Royal Thomasy, or whatever you want to call him. ROLLOTOMASSI. Okay? And I was checking out, he's only got like 4 or 5 live streams up on his channel. He's got almost 4,000 subs already to only 4 or 5 live streams. He's working with an older gentleman who's doing live radio shows. And what I'm hearing is, well, they're talking a lot of truth there about sort of like MRA, the symptoms. It's not what they're saying is not, it's not that what they're talking about is wrong. I was listening to him talking about man spreading. I was listening to him talk about a woman who stabbed the guy she was with. Okay? The stuff they're talking about was all correct. But you know, the thing that you see they fail to ever do is to ever talk about the social engineering. That's right. Where this problem originated from, this is what you don't hear. This is exactly what you don't hear. You don't hear MRA, who's been hijacked by the feminist movement. because Paul Elam turned it over to a bunch of women. You never heard Paul Elam talk about it, and you won't hear these two guys talk about it either. So if you're looking at the name of the live stream, that's what I'm talking about these guys here. You're not going to hear them talk about it because they're not about to talk about where the calls come from, social engineering. These are people who I like to call them shills, plants. You know, you got to understand this. When it comes to the dating scene topic, PUA, the pickup artist industry, for all the who says and the deniers out here that are still up here, that's been up here forever, that wants to say that TFL isn't real, okay, that it's not going on. Well, if it wasn't going on, then you have to ask yourself a really good question. How could have anybody ever marketed PUA? The pickup artist industry has made a lot of money off a problem that don't exist then, huh? That'd be like jumping in a time machine and going back in time to the Western days and taking a starter off an automobile. And if you could get in a time machine and go back to the Western days long before vehicles were even thought of and invented, when it was nothing but horse and buggy, I want to see you market that starter. I want to see you go ahead and sell that starter. Because you're not going to get a market for it. You're not going to sell it. Nobody's going to want it. They're going to have no use for it. They're not even going to know what it is. Even if you tell them what it is, there ain't nobody use for it. Nobody's going to care about it. You ain't going to sell it. You're going to be flat broke. Well, that's not how it is for PUA now, is it? No, the pickup artist industry makes lots of money every year. So when you sit there and say TFL isn't real, well, then PUA could have never made no money now, could have they? That's because all of this has been deliberately done. The destruction of the family unit. That's what this was all about. And that's what you're witnessing going on around you. This is why so many men are having trouble. You know, and the foundation, I've told Hoka this on a live stream, the foundation of a relationship between a man and a woman was built off of dating and first becoming friends. But in today's society, women are using friendship as a rejection line. And of course, it's not all women. When I talk about women, I'm not talking women across the board but it is very rare that you're going to have a woman that's going to understand that they have to first become friends. That is very rare. It's sort of like finding a needle in a haystack. Because the majority of women in today's society are programmed just like the men are. And they have no idea what they're doing, no more than the men do. People have got their minds so focused on sex anymore that they've actually destroyed their own selves through sex. Yes, sex is there and there's going to be sex in a relationship, yes. But sex was always the last on the list, not the first on the list. And sex has been taken from the back of the list and put at the top of the list in today's society. And then you wonder why things don't work out. And then, of course, women using the foundation that leads to real love as a rejection line. And then women wanting to play the man. And they're wanting to take gender roles and flip it and play the man's role and get all the same perks as the man has, plus have all their own perks that they had from being a female. And the only perks they don't want from the man is the responsibility. Taking responsibility for their actions, period. They don't want anything to do with that. This they pass back to the men. And unfortunately, thanks to white knights and what you want to call manginas, that I just call straight out vaginas, they've made that possible for women. And you have a lot of weak-minded guys out here that are so desperate for a female that when they get a female in their life, they're so scared of losing her that they will bend over and do everything she says. And I have seen this epidemic grow big time. And that's not a lie. I've watched it grow big time. You know, and I really don't care what viewers I get because I understand there's a lot of people over at Hell by the Dashboard Light live stream and over there at Hoka's live stream tonight. Okay. And I don't mind that. If that's what that is, this is going to be archived on my channel. So you're not going to miss anything unless you want it involved in the live stream. And I normally don't bring people in. And if I bring people in, and if I'm going to do a live stream and bring people in, I do it a little differently than Steve does. Okay, I got nothing against bringing somebody in. If somebody comes on that's listening to this and they want to join in this conversation with me, all they got to do is type it in the chat. And I'll give them a way of being in the show. Okay? But that's where I come from with this. Okay, Steve Hoka is really meaning well. And I'm going to stand by him in what he's doing. I'm not going to have the controversy with him. Okay? Because he actually does mean well. And I understand this about Steve. Steve's been around a long time just like I have. And I was over there today listening to another one of his live streams, and I was actually on his live stream for a little while with him. I was up there tonight listening to it, but I'd already planned on doing this, so I really didn't care to join his live stream tonight. Okay? Steve has busy times right now between his career, doing his work to make his money to live on, and then trying to juggle this in between. If Steve wants to give dating advice or so-called counseling, I wouldn't call it counseling, but advice to help TFLers, I'm all for that. I'm not going to stop that because that needs to happen. I can only give what advice I have to give you, and I can give you advice. But if Steve wants to jump on board with this, I'm not going to stop him, and he can run with it. I've been doing this stuff for a lot of years now, but I've also touched the other end of the topic, as something I brought up on a live feed earlier with Steve Hoka, was his trade. When he goes and works on a furnace, or if he goes and works on an air conditioner during the summer. Regardless of what it is, when it breaks down, he has to look for the root cause. Because to fix it, he has to find the root cause. He understood this clearly. That's the reason I brought that up to him. Well, to understand what's going on in society and why there's so many men living TFL, why there's so many breakups in the home nowadays, why so many men can't get a woman, and why so many marriages are failing, you have to look for the root cause. This is something most guys do not want to do. This is something that most people do not want to do. Steve Hoka's got a little bit of insight into it. He understands the social engineering, which it is. To understand why it was social engineered, to understand who's actually behind it, you'd have to do your homework. You would have to start looking for the root cause. And that means you're going to have to do a lot of research to figure it out. Well, I've done that research. And I totally understand what's going on and why this is happening. Okay? Steve is a smart guy. He's well spoken. He means well. He's not awake. Okay? It's not putting Steve down, so don't ever take it that way. He's not awake to the research that I have behind me, but at least he understands it's social engineering. It's up to him if he wants to take the time to do the homework that I've done. And I would not tell him he has to. I would never tell him he has to, because that's totally up. That has to be up to Steve. Okay? But for the people who are really truly awake to what's going on in society, the majority of so-called truthers up here speaking up against NWO are sound asleep to the area Steve's talking about, or that I'm talking about right now. Okay, and that's no lie. That's fact. Which is sad, because it's like this big divide, you know. There's not too many real truthers that are awake to understand how NWO ties into the dating scene and why this is going on. There are few of us, but there's not too many. Okay? It's no accident. You're not going to call a congressman and change laws. Just like the Violence Against Women's Act, that a man could never be the victim of domestic violence. You're not going to call the White House or your congressman or your senator and change that law. That law was not accidentally placed there. None of this stuff is an accident. It's all deliberate. For TFL to reach mainstream media won't happen. Just won't happen. It ain't going to happen. They're not going to let it happen. Okay, that's why you can look at people like Paul Elam, this new guy that I was asked to look into today, that I looked into, and his partner over there, radio show, they're now working together. They're just another form of MRA, is all they are. That's all that is. What you're going to get from them is a lot of truth, but it's all going to be symptoms. Symptoms. You're not going to hear them speak about the causes where this come from. You never heard MRA all the years that Paul Elam was running it. Did you ever hear Paul Elam talk about social engineering, the social conditioning of society, to condition the mindset, to brainwash the people? No, you didn't. And he's not about to. Because these people actually are making money off of doing what they're doing. They don't want the problem to go away because that's to take the income out of their pocket. Okay, that's really what that comes down to. It all comes down to selfishness and money and not really caring about other people. And this is where I give Steve kudos for actually caring. Okay, Steve's wanting to make some money off donations. That's his prerogative, just as it's people's prerogative to donate money if they want to donate it to Steve. So I'm going to leave that totally alone, as I told Steve I would, okay? I'm not even going to bring that up anymore. I've done things from my heart because that's what I wanted to do, and I don't ask for money. Even if I was flat busted, I'm not going to ask anybody for money to do what I'm doing because I've always done it from my heart. That's who I am. Okay? Steve Holka's Steve Holka. He's not me. Okay? He's who he is. His intentions are good, though. And that's what counts. Okay? And that's really what counts. Is his intentions are good. And if he can help some men to be able to move on with their life, that's great. You know, I'm all for helping guys that are living TFL be able to move on with their life. I cannot give you a cure. Steve cannot give you a cure. There is no instant cure. Decades and decades of social engineering has went into this to cause this problem. It's no accident that it happened. It's been deliberately done. And until people get that through their head, there's nothing you can do for them. They have to get it through their head that this is all social engineering. Every last bit of this. It's all tied to NWO, New World Order. Whether you want to believe it or not, I really don't care. See, I don't care if you want to call it conspiracy theory, because that only shows that you've done no homework. That's all that shows. That you've absolutely looked into nothing. Okay? Because anybody that understands what's really going on understands what I'm talking about. When I say the dating scene is all tied into NWO, it's no lie. None of this is an accident. None of this. Women's behaviors in today's society, men's behaviors, the way women are now becoming masculine and more wanting the man become a man, be the man, be the man, be the man. And the way men are becoming women, 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 it's not no accident. Okay? And you're not going to change it without a lot of work to change it because it's going to take reconditioning people, re-educating people. And that's what it's going to take to turn this back around. So the only thing you can do for men that are suffering or living from it is try to get them to take it off their mind as much as possible. To first make themselves happy, to get a career, to get a job, to get a hobby. Maybe you already got a job, man. Maybe you're already making good money. You still can't get a woman in your life. You know, the world's not going to stop turning because you can't get a woman in your life. You have to first make yourself happy and live for yourself. But you can't be a hermit neither. If you're going to be a hermit and sit in your house and never go nowhere, you can't blame the women for not knowing you when you're not out there to be known. You have to get off your doof and go out there and do things. Put yourself in environments where you can meet women, where you can socialize with people. And that's becoming a hard pill nowadays too, because have you ever noticed how people are stuck in the technology and they're sitting there? I mean, you get friends that get together now to visit each other and they're all on their phones. They've all got their smartphones in their face. So, you know, communication's been broke down. People don't even communicate the way they used to communicate. That's been destroyed and broke down. And you know what that's doing to the dating scene? That's making it even harder. It's making it even harder for you to meet a woman because the women are just as guilty as the men are when it comes to the technology that's been put into your face. You see it, men and women alike, walking down the street with their cell phones in their hand, their smartphones, their Androids, their whatever they got, the newest phone, you know, and everybody's texting each other. People are getting together to visit each other, and they got their phones in their hand, and they're busy blue, 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 pushing all the buttons on their phone and chatting with somebody else. Yep. And then they're using shorter words. I mean, laugh out loud is spelled LOL. So 3 words have been down to 3 words, 3 letters now. And people just don't get it. They don't see what's happening to them. They're breaking down your ability to communicate, is what they're doing. That's what the social engineering is doing, is breaking down people's ability to communicate. Okay, and you know, and it's sad because when you start breaking down people's ability to communicate, you think you have enough problems getting a woman in your life now, but the technology is furtherly breaking down your ability to communicate. And how could you ever get somebody in your life if you can't communicate? See, you know, and it's making it really, it's just making a problem we already have even harder for you. That's all it's doing. See, so your technology, your smartphones, and the stuff you're using to communicate is actually not doing you no favors. How about just calling and talking? How about going to their house and hooking up and leave your phones at home and go out and have a good night on the town, minus your phones? How about learning to get communication skills back? That'd be a start. You know, this is where this come from. You know, I mean, you can go to the gym and work out. You can think of a million things you can do, but if you lack communication skills, how are you going to do it? Think about when you was a little kid and you played with the little girl down the street. Seriously, take that to heart and think about that for a moment. Because if you was a little kid and you were talking to the girl down the street and you two played together all the time as a little girl, ask yourself the question. Once you got into your teens and your hormones kicked in, what happened to the friendship that you had with her? Oh, it went out the door, didn't it? Yeah. And suddenly you as a man has to reschool yourself how to talk to another human being. No, you don't. That's social engineering. It's not an accident. It was deliberate, you know. And I see MiG 2 as men going their own way as a solution. Push ups is the cure for TFL. Are you kidding me? I mean, the reality is push-ups isn't going to change not a damn thing, okay, to men going their own way solution, okay? The solution for men going their own way at first, when MGTOW first come out, they have enough men stepped away from women, and women couldn't get a man in their life, and the men were rejecting them. Then MGTOW would have caught the women's attention. But that's not what you're seeing happening now, are you? The majority of men going their own way are TFLers who will never own up to being a TFLer. They'll just continue to lie and say they're not when they actually are. And the first time you look at them, you find them out there jumping through all the hoops, playing all the games to try to meet a woman. That is not a man going their own way. A man going their own way isn't trying to hook up and get laid, isn't trying to meet a woman. And that's just straight up fact, okay? There's no getting around that. Doesn't matter what you tell me. It just does not matter what kind of BS you pull out. It ain't going to work. You cannot bullshit your way through this. This is reality. This is the real world I'm talking about. And you're lying and playing a game in the real world only makes you what you are, a liar, okay? A deceiver, somebody who cannot be believed, somebody who cannot be trusted. And if you get mad because I tell you you can't be believed or trusted, if you're playing the game, then that's what you are. You're a deceiver and you're a liar. And if you don't like that, oh well, that's the truth in your face. Because another human being is not an emotion or emotions is not a game to be toyed with or played. Lying and deceiving to somebody to get your want is still criminal. It's still corruption. What do you think you can just put on this phony act and you're going to somehow get her? And then when the real you comes out, what are you going to continue to be a phony your whole life? No, because as soon as she really gets to know you, she's going to get to know the real you because you're not going to be able to keep up your phony persona. Then you're going to wonder why the fight's on, the drama's on. That's what being phony causes. More drama, more breakups. You know, I think I've seen this person before, okay? But my thing is to try to bring the genders back together again. That's always been my thing. Is to try to get men and women both to see what they're doing, how they're treating one another, and to understand that the foundation that creates a relationship that lasted for any kind of time at all was when a man and a woman first became friends. But when a woman uses let's just be friends as a rejection line and runs right out and starts dating somebody else and's got that guy in her arms a week later after she's told this other guy, let's just be friends, okay? She makes a fool out of herself and she shows you that she does not know what she's doing. Now, I'm not going to even go there where I've seen ugly dudes change girlfriends, okay? Because anybody with any common sense knows the woman is the one that makes the pick, not the man. And when the woman says that's not true, she's straight up lying and knows she's lying. You don't have the high number of guys, men, that are committing suicide every year. You don't have the high number of men who can't get somebody in their life because the women ain't doing these things, because the women are doing these things that a lot of these guys are talking about. When you start really listening to Men talk, whether you're listening to Tom Likas, Paul Elam, Steve Hoka, myself, or many other guys, and you're a woman, the stuff they're talking about is reality and is really happening. But you know what happens when you point at a woman's thoughts? She gets all offended, and a bunch of white knights come along, and it's covered up by society. And it shouldn't be covered up. You have no problem pointing out the man's thoughts. See, we're all human beings and we all make mistakes, every last one of us. Our biggest problem is listening to your television set and listening to your music and all the stuff that's gone on over the years, the programming, the social engineering. Because one side was given one programming and the other side was given another programming, and that's the genders. The feminist movement was doing women no favors. Women thought it was, but it wasn't. This was the catalyst that led to where we're at right now. If it was all about equality, then you'd have to ask yourself a question. If it was about equal rights for both genders, then how come the women succeeded to have the equal rights years ago and kept right on fighting for more rights and now have more rights than men? And for any woman who denies that to be true, she hasn't done her homework. I'll give you one example right now, and you can look into it, and you'll find out I'm correct. See, men get breast cancer too. That is no lie, that is fact. And men also die from breast cancer just like women do because it's just as deadly for a man as it is a woman. But a woman, she will qualify for government help to pay for treatment for her breast cancer. Where a man does not qualify for any kind of government help with breast cancer because he's not a woman. Fact. Go do your homework. Okay, that's really where that comes from. That's just one. Want another one for you? Here's another one for you. A man cannot be a victim of domestic violence. There's even states that have it wrote into the laws. Okay, here's another goose egg for you, as Paul Elam would call it. Why, when we were little kids, did we teach boys do not hit girls? Why did Barack Obama get up there with Joe Biden and tell you there's absolutely no excuse to ever lay your hands on a woman? Why did we not teach our children that nobody hits nobody? Why was the gender ever brought into it? Okay? Why is there no female shaming and bashing in your sitcoms and your movies and your commercials? Why is there not an epidemic of female bashing going on? Putting the woman down. Because I can show you thousands and thousands of doing that to men. So, see, until I see women take action to speak up against these things, it's a little hard for me to take a woman seriously. Because she lives in the same world I do and she sees the same stuff going on and she laughs at it. It's funny, isn't it? Just like when Arena Bobbitt supposedly cut off her guy's, you know what? Just like when the other gal drugged her husband for divorcing him, tied him up, cut it off, and dropped him in a garbage disposal. You watched 5 adult women climb up on TV and laugh and laugh. It was so funny. See, so this pushed women in a very bad spot because you sit back and you allow this type of behavior. You present this type of behavior. You never spoke up at all about it. Okay? But then you want to play that you're the victim. The most protected gender, for as far back as we can go, has always been the female because she's the one who gives birth. But yet somehow the most protected gender is also the most victimized? Impossible. Sorry, you can't have both roles. It's one or the other, it's not both. Do you see the double standards here? I mean, I could go on and on with the list, just goes a mile long. So, I don't want to hear women complaining and saying blah, 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 because until women start taking responsibility and start standing up and calling these wrongs out themselves, how could you be taken seriously? Because if we flip this around and it was done the other way around, you can bet your bottom line there'd be men and women like out there complaining, holding signs, and speaking up and saying something. But when it's happening to the man, you don't see no women out there holding signs, speaking up, saying something. You don't even see that on the men's rights movement right now, MRA, that's been taken over by feminist women. You see them talk about all the same stuff Paul Elam talked about, the symptoms. You see Karen Stroud, Girls' Rights What, going out doing all these lectures or these seminars and all these events where she's talking, but she only talks about the symptoms. But outside of that, do you see anything going on? Do you see women going down the street saying to Hollywood, protesting Hollywood to stop making commercials and sitcoms and movies, shaming the man? Have I ever seen that ever happen? No, I have not. See, so, when it comes right down to reality, this is where I come from with this. It doesn't matter what people tell me, it's so in your face. There's only two reasons an ugly man who gets a girlfriend has either making a lot of money or he's a bad boy. Now, that's not necessarily true anymore. At one time, I would have totally agreed with you on the bad boy thing. But that's not necessarily true anymore. The bad boy's being exchanged for an angina now. A simp. The white knight. The guy that'll bend over and do whatever she says. It used to be that the women wanted the challenge from the bad boy. That's slowly being exchanged for simps. Because simps make better slaves. Open your eyes and look around you and you'll see that's what's going on. At one time, I would have totally agreed with you about women chasing after the bad boys. But I can't totally agree with you anymore on that. Because that's slowly being changed. You have more women looking for the guy that won't stand up to them now. They want the guy that won't stand up for himself. The guy that'll just do the honey-do list. Yes, honey. Yes, honey. Okay, honey. Whatever you say, honey. Yes, honey. Okay, honey. Yes, honey. Yes, honey. Okay, honey. And never stand up for himself. To her, giving her total control. This is what you see going on more so now. More so than the bad boy. Okay, so, and that's to TFL Toronto, Forced Loneliness. If you open your eyes and really pay attention to what's going on, you'll see the bad boy scenario is slowly moving out of the scene. Women are going after the white knights. More and more women are picking out the guy that will not stand up for himself. And of course, there's a good reason for that, because when she's through using him, she could just throw him away and use the court system to rape him. I mean, thanks to no-fault divorce. So the guy really has to school himself on if he does get a woman. And most TFLers don't understand it's not the happy to go glory of life. Having a woman in your life is not going to bring you happiness. Having a companion and a friend will bring you happiness if you both know what you're doing. But you have to both know what you're doing. And most people in today's society don't know what they're doing. The bottom line is they don't know what they're doing. Communication skills have been broke down. Double standards have been in your face for too long. You got gender roles, double standards, the breakdown of communication between the genders, and the double standards, favoritism. You know what double standards are? Corruption. That's what a double standard is corruption. You've corrupted the entire system, and then you wonder why things ain't working out, huh? Yes, you'll always have a hard day when you're living TFL. That's just correct, but only you can correct that. I can't do that for you. You have to be the one to be able to remove your mind off of situations. I mean, if you're going to walk through life worrying about trying to get a woman in your life, and this is all that's going to be on your mind around the clock, you're going to be your own demise. Because when that's all that's in your mind, that's all that's in your mind, and then you go out there and try to meet a woman, you know what your body language says? Your body language scares the shit out of her, and she's going to reject you and run. And it's going to be because of yourself. I'm not saying this is easy for you to do. And I've never ever promised anything to be easy. You're going to have to work on your own self. The best thing I can tell you to do is the best as you can for yourself, and it's going to take work, is to try to remove your mind off of the opposite gender. To find yourself a hobby, something to occupy your time. Get a good career, man, and invest into that good career to where you can actually have a good income and something for yourself. Then, if you can invest your time into that and take your mind off the dating and keep your mind off the dating, you can go out there and socialize and start working on your social skills. You'll wind up meeting a girl when you're not looking for her. Your body language won't scream as it did when that's all that was on your mind. So she's not going to get that vibe from your body language. And eventually, you may actually meet somebody that'll like you, that you'll like, and you'll get somewhere. But you cannot spend your day stressing yourself out. What good are you doing your own self, even if that's all you're going to do is stress yourself out all day? Yes, and the women are very picky. That is correct. Women can be very, very picky. But the toxic woman you need to blow off anyhow. If she's self-centered, selfish, and narcissist, which unfortunately we have a big epidemic of, and once again, you got men to thank for that. You really do. You have men to thank for that. What has our society done? What have men done? Placed the woman above themselves their whole life. Pampered them, spoiled them, and put them above their own selves. That's right. Then you think about gender roles and what men have done. How do you think there's such a big epidemic of narcissist women? Because men helped create them. It sure was. It was men that done that. This may not be very popular truth for you to be hearing, but it is the truth. It's not a lie. It's fact. Because you don't want to hear it doesn't change the truth. That's the reason I said the best thing one can do for themselves is to take their mind off of the dating arena. Find a hobby, something to do. And if you ain't got a career, you're not working, then you need to focus on getting a career and getting a job and focus on yourself and putting yourself together to where you can have a stable life. Because without that, what you gonna do when your parents die, huh? Be homeless on the street? See, you have to think about yourself first in this situation. If you ain't got a job and you're still living at home, then the first thing you need to do is focus on getting a career, getting a job. That's really what you need to do. You got to focus on yourself first that way. And if you put your attention there instead of worrying about getting a date in your life, you're going to relieve a lot of stress off. You're going to lift a lot of stress off your own shoulders. Your body language is not going to scream out to women no more. Because if all you do is worried about I can't get a date, you got to go out and keep trying and trying and trying. And that's all you worry about. And you become so stressed because you can't get a date. So stressed because you can't get a date. Look, it wasn't that long we had a TFL who committed suicide. And you know why that happened to him? Because that's exactly what he was doing. What I just said. He spent his days worrying about trying to get a woman. Going on to all these dating sites online and stressing himself out. And stressing himself out. And stressing himself out. Do you follow what I'm telling you? Because that's exactly what he done to himself. You can't do that to yourself. I mean, that's like taking a hammer and smashing yourself in the head. That's why I said focus on your own life, man. If you're living at home yet and you ain't got a job, then your priorities should be put in order. Your priorities should be, I need to get a career and a job. For yourself. You always do for yourself when it comes to that. You're not going to get a career and a job because you want to please a woman. It has to be for yourself. I understand what you're saying about deaf women don't want to date deaf men. I've seen obese women turn down obese men. I watched it happen to Dwayne. This gal was every bit as big as Dwayne, and she rejected him because he was obese, while she was gigantically obese. That woman was trash from the begin with. You blow her off. What do you want, drama and misery in your life? What do you want, misery for company? Or do you want to get out of your stressful situation and be happy? Ask yourself them questions. If you want to get out of your stressful situation and be happy, then you have to first ask yourself them questions. And if your answer is you want to stress off your shoulders and you want to be happy, then you need to examine what's right now in your current environment. I don't know, TFL Toronto, forced loneliness. Ask yourself a question. Are you still living at home with your parents? Do you have a job? See, that, this is where I'm coming from. You can bring up, boy, even autistic women. I already know this, and everybody else already knows this. I'm asking you a simple question. Do you still live at home? Do you have a job? This is my question to True Forced TFL Toronto Forced Loneliness. Do you live at home? Do you have a job? That is my question to you. Because if the answer to that is yes, okay, cool, you're employed full time. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you being honest with me, okay? Okay, so now you're employed full time. So you do have a job you're going to 8 hours a day. The next question for you is this. Do you go out and try to associate with anybody? Do you go out at all? I mean, outside of your job, what do you do on your days off? Now, the reason I'm asking you that question is actually really simple. Okay, because On your days off, you don't want to spend all of your time at home. During your work week, if you're working long hours or 8 hours a day or whatever, it's a full-time job. Okay, you're busy, you come home, you might be tired, what have you. But on your days off, what do you do with your time? My advice to you would be to find a hobby or go and learn how to have social skills. Do not go out there looking for a date. Go out and be places where women and men both frequent. Don't go looking for a date. Just be yourself and socialize with people and see if you can pick up some social skills to at least make friends. Because this is where it's going to start. This is where it will start. Okay? Because when you do that and you're not out there looking for a date, you're not going out to look for a date. That is the first rule. Why am I saying that's your first rule? Because if you go out looking for the date, you're going to stress yourself about impressing her. You're going to stress yourself about doing everything right. And when you do that, your body language will scream it. So you have to go out there and just be yourself. And that's why I said don't go out looking for a date. Find activities, things you can get involved in. Go get involved and just be yourself. Don't even look for a date. Because then when you do meet a female, if you got your mindset not in looking for a date, your body language isn't going to scream. Then maybe, I mean, it takes work meeting somebody, but then maybe you'll stand a chance of meeting somebody. You don't want to do what the TFL did who recently committed suicide. That was a person who had their mind on, I can't meet somebody, and I've tried and I've tried and I've been rejected and I've been rejected and I've been rejected. And I keep trying and I keep being rejected and I keep trying and I keep being rejected. That'll tear you up from the inside out. It'll destroy you. And your body language will scream it. I understand what you're saying, and I didn't say anything was going to happen overnight, but it takes self-work on your. You have to self-work for yourself. And I'm not saying improve yourself, I'm saying stay who you are. You do not change who you are for nobody. I'm only simply telling you to take your mind off of, I can't get a date, I can't get a date, I can't get a date. To go out there and be yourself. That's all I'm telling you. Because that's what you have to do. Do you think it's an accident that I have a woman in my life right now? Do you think it's an accident that I've had women in my life? Do you think it's an accident that I've got a son that I raised? This is where this comes from. This is why I'm telling you this stuff. I'm not trying to ridicule you, cut you down in any way at all, or call you names or make fun of you. I want you to understand what you need to do for yourself as a man. Because when you do these things for yourself, then you will take that stress off your shoulders. Do you understand what I'm saying? Then you will eventually meet somebody, but you got to get that stress off yourself first. Because as long as you stay stressed, you're not going to meet somebody. And it's not as easy as people think when you do meet somebody. Because the social engineering of our society has completely destroyed relationships. Why do you think I talked about cell phones, smartphones at the beginning of this live stream? That is the breakdown of communication. Communication is a must. Good communication is a must. And you're not going to have good communication if you got your smartphone stuck in your face. And that's really where that comes from. It's not about hurting anybody, it's about trying to help you help yourself. because that's all I can do for you. I can't do any more than that, other than to try to help you help yourself. And then you have to take what I'm saying, the advice I'm telling you, and you have to figure out a way to make that work for yourself. But you got to lift the stress off of yourself. Of course, that's always going to happen during this live streams. Call from. Matter of fact, speaking of that, I think I better shut this down. And that's why, the phones, the problem with our technology is it's breaking down communication. People are spending more time texting each other than they are actually talking to each other. People ain't hooking up like they used to. They're losing their communication skills. Everything's turned into text, text, text. And you're even learning how to take shortcuts on that too. That's why I gave you the example about laugh out loud is spelled LOL. You didn't have to spell out laugh, then out, OUT, then loud. You went LOL. You're finding shortcuts, you're using texts, you're breaking down your communication skills. And you don't even know you are. That's what social engineering's about. Social engineering is about basically brainwashing. And it happens to you without knowing you're being brainwashed. Do you think if somebody told you, look, I'm going to brainwash you, that they'd be able to get by with brainwashing you? No, you'd be aware of it. Not going to happen. But if we use our tools, mainstream media, our school system, and our technology, then it would be easy, wouldn't it? What do you think social engineering is? They perfected the art of brainwashing masses years and years ago. And they've done a damn good job of doing that. And it's no lie. What do you think? You got this epidemic of TFL going on. It ain't going to change. How could it change when not men or women alike know what the hell they're doing? It's not going to change. You're not going to go mainstream media and call attention to it because it was no accident. The people who done this to us control mainstream media, and they're very careful about who they allow on. Why do you think I talked about the people that are talking about the dating topics and all the other stuff here on YouTube? I don't care how many subscribers they got and how good they are, how well spoken they are. Pay attention. They're telling you lots of truths, just like Paul Elam did. Just like this Russell guy that's up here now with this other bald-headed guy that's doing a live stream. They're talking about factual stuff, but it's all the symptoms. It's all the symptoms. Why don't you see if they ever talk about the social engineering? Pay attention to what they're talking about. If you don't never hear them talking about social engineering, turn the channel off. They're doing you no good. Because you have to first know what the root cause of the problem is. Symptoms don't fix nothing. You got to know the root cause. And the root cause is from the top. None of this is an accident. This is what people need to really get through their heads, that none of this is an accident. Never has been and never will be. It's not an accident. But getting that through people's heads sometimes is like, wow, really? You know? That's why I said this years ago and people were so confused. When I first gave the name TFL and I came out and started my videos, Dwayne Holloway wasn't even knowing yet, but him and I were talking, and he was behind the scenes and nobody even knew he was there. Then Steve Holka came along. And then Steve and I started working, and it was Steve Holker that brought Dwayne out of the hidden state by telling him straight out, if you're not going to put your face on camera, blah, blah, blah. So then Dwayne Holloway came out of the hid closet and put his face on camera. And you have Steve Holker to think about that. See, this was years ago before probably most of you people that's in this chat was even here. I don't think there's many of you in this chat that's been here since the beginning, when I first come online, when I first gave the name to TFL, when Steve and I worked together, when Dwayne was working, before he lost his mind. I'm going to say that before he lost his damn mind. Okay? There wasn't too many people around back then. Now, there's a lot of people, but nowadays, we got a whole new crowd of people on here, and a lot of the older people that's been around, I don't see no more. I mean, Midnight Sunshade just disappeared. Dwayne Holloway lost his mind. You know, there's people that's just vanished. But for the people that was around back then when we first brought this out, then they understand why Steve and I've known each other for so long. And why am I over there talking to Steve again now? Because this needed to happen. That's the way I feel about this. This actually needed to happen. Because Steve does mean well. So don't anybody take him wrong, because Steve does mean well. You know? That's why I said, even with the donation thing, years ago I was totally dead set against donations only because I done what I done from my heart. But I've relinquished on that a long time ago, and I'm not going to hold that against Steve Holker for asking for donations. It's his right to ask, and it's people's right to donate if they want to donate. Okay? So that's not even going to be an issue. You know? But this needed to happen because Steve means well, and Steve's a good speaker, and Steve's done a lot of good work over the years. It don't matter what people say, the man has done a lot of good work. So I'm going to stand up for Steve in that aspect. I can understand you as a teenager and probably didn't even know this existed in 2007. I respectively understand that. You know, I see somebody in here, the electronic man, who used to be on my radio shows. So he's been around for a while, and Dave, yeah, I think he's been around for a while. There's a few people in here that has. But understand, I'm only trying to help you. You need to understand that your technology they're using for the breakdown of communication. And it's worked. And it's worked. Just like everything else. Divide and conquer, it's worked. Look at how people are communicating now, the breakdown of the communication. Do you actually think that's going to help you in the dating arena to meet somebody? Not. That has the opposite effect. They don't want strong family units. They don't want relationships to be successful. They want us all divided. That's no lie. NWO, New World Order, is 100% legit, real. This was all a long-term plan. This didn't happen overnight. Baby steps, man. When you listen to Jerry and I talk, we've talked before about everything's done in baby steps. Because it is. This didn't come on overnight, man. But this problem is affecting men in high numbers. It's completely broke down our society. It really has. You know, and our society has been completely broke down, and you have to try to ignore the programming. You have to, you know, when I talk about the Leave It to Beaver days, I'm telling you, we need to move backwards to when relationships and family units were strong, and look and see what they've done that made them relationships last. And how come they had relationships that last a lifetime? And look at what was going on then and then compare it to now. depth of programming on its ass. That's right, Kevin. Divide and conquer. Right there, Kevin. I have a lot of respect for that man right there. I'll tell you that right now. Kevin is a TFLer, and he's one of the only TFLer I know that really got it. That totally understood it. Don't think that Kevin don't still have his moments where he TFL stresses him, because I know he does, and Kevin knows he does. But I'll tell you what, Kevin's not letting that stress tear him to pieces. Kevin's strong. Kevin totally got it, and that's what I've been trying to tell you people. You have to find something for yourself, not for a woman, for yourself. You've got to focus on making yourself happy first and take your mind off of meeting a woman. And that's no lie. Take your mind off of meeting a woman until you get that stress off your shoulders. Because that stress has to be gone first. Because without that stress gone first, your body language is screaming it. Don't play women for stupid, because women are not stupid. Yes. I like that, Kevin. Yes, it is. It's Happy Genocide Day. All day long. I like that other comment I had about the turkeys. I thought that was pretty cool. And millions of turkeys suffered and died so that we could eat them today. So, but it's one of them things that when it comes right down to reality with TFL, I've always been proud of Kevin for a long time now, man. I really have. Kevin's really, I look at Kevin. Kevin to me is a good friend. I like Kevin a lot, and Kevin knows that. He's a good friend. He's a TFLer, and he totally got it a long time ago. Okay, and that's just it. And I don't see that from a lot of people. A lot of people, they just, that's why that guy suicided himself not that long ago in TFL, because he allowed that stress to freaking eat him up, eat him up. Remember years ago when I done my True Force Loneliness videos, I told people then, it eats you from the inside out. It will completely destroy you if you allow it to. And only you can change that. I can't change that for you. I can tell you and tell you, but you have to be the one to do the work. Because it's affecting your life. You're the one affected by it. Only you can take that stress off your shoulder. Nobody in this chat can do that for you. You're talking 10 years ago? You know what? I've met so many people in 10 years. I've done so much in 10 years. You can't expect me to remember a comment from 10 years ago, because I'll tell you what, even you wouldn't. You can't do as much as I've done in chat, and as many chats as much as I've done over the years, and remember every single person. I'm not a computer. People are programmable like computers, but I'm sorry. And I am getting a little bit younger every year. That's why over in Hocus chat I put 29 sounds like a good number. I think I'll be 29 again. That sounded like a good number to me. No, you're not going to change women. It's social engineering. It's not that every single woman is bad, neither, though. The majority, thanks to social engineering, but not every single one. Okay? And the first thing you need to do for yourself is remove the stress from yourself. Because as long as you're stressed out, as long as you're stressed over not being able to meet somebody, the women will see it. Your body language will tell them. You hurt yourself that way. And and that's not to be mean, that's just fact. You need to understand I'm trying to help you. Thank you, off the grid. That's really what this is about. I'm trying to help you. But I can only give you advice. I cannot tell you to follow it. I mean, you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. And that's really where that comes from. I'm trying to give people advice. That's all I'm trying to do. Okay, advice, sound advice that'll actually help you. That's what this is about. It's not about hurting people. It's about trying to help you. That's all this is about. If I can help somebody and they can help themselves, then I've accomplished what I want to do because it's about helping you people. It's not an accident that I got a woman in my life. It's not an accident that I got an ex wife and a child that I raised his whole life that's now 21. I did live TFL, and that's no lie. Why do you think I came up with the name I came up with? Because I did live TFL and I understand the damage it does. Because I've been down that road. But I also done what I had to do, and I also got a woman in my life and had a kid, and then I'm the one that divorced her. And I've got another woman in my life now, and I've dated a few times along the way. This is why I'm telling you guys what I'm telling you. I'm trying to help you to be able to meet somebody. You to be able to date somebody and live your life. And not have to be so stressed out that you kill yourself like that TFL recently did. And to understand what guys are telling you when they say don't get married in today's society, I can't take that away from them. I'm married, but I can't take that away from them. I mean, because we have a very bad situation going on. But getting people to understand that all of this is linked to NWO, and that's not a conspiracy theory. The only thing that's true about it is a conspiracy because there's more than one person behind it. And it's all been brought down the chain, and it's been deliberately done. It's not an accident. Well, that's where the social engineering come from that caused the problems we're having. Ditching that programming, going back in time and looking and examining what was different between the Leave It to Beaver days and now is crucial if you want to see the mistakes people are making now. Because when you can compare and look for the mistakes that we're making now compared to back then you actually see the social engineering. And it will really wake you up to a lot of what's going on. That's why I said if you listen to people up here talking on dating scenes and all they talk about is the problems in society, and you never hear them bring up social engineering, social conditioning, okay, then you need to turn that channel off. Because these people are using this to make money. This is not going to go mainstream. I know Steve has some wild dreams, and I'd love to see it go mainstream, but I understand where the problem come from, and they're not about to let it go mainstream. The controllers ain't about to let that happen. Why do you think MRA never touched the root cause? Why do you think I told Steve Hoka about his trade when he goes to fix an air conditioner or furnace? He has to look for the root cause. And what did Steve Hoka do? He agreed 100% because he cannot repair somebody's furnace, water heater, or air conditioner if he doesn't look for the cause that made it break down to begin with, which is the root cause. This is the reason it's important to look for the root cause. It's also just as much important for people to understand that their communication skills are being broke down through the technology and you don't even know what's happening to you. It's not normal for people to walk around with smartphones in their hands and you see people get together. I mean, I got an example the other day. My wife and two of her friends got together. They were visiting each other. My brother was there. And so the four of them sat around a room with their cell phones in their hand the entire time they were there visiting. Not even talking to each other. Communication skills being broke down. It's right in your face. And what do you think that's going to do for the dating arena? It's going to make it even all the more harder. See, none of this stuff's an accident. It's all deliberate. And we're combating something that's been deliberately done by evil people. This is the reason it's very important to dump the programming, to throw the programming out on its ass. It really is. Because if you dump the programming, you'd be surprised. Okay, you really will be surprised in the end. Unfortunately, we're in a world full of people that are programmed, and you're not going to change them. They have to change themselves because it has to start on an individual basis. And it's not going to be easy because this literally has to start on an individual basis of people recognizing right from wrong. And that's both genders. They have to recognize right from wrong and how they're treating one another. And then they have to be willing to work on themselves to dump that programming and do on to one as you want done on to yourself. That's the reason you hear me say that. Because that is so crucial. If we're ever going to turn this stuff around, this is where it's going to come from. It's not going to come from anywhere else. It's going to come from us on an individual basis. So, yeah, I'm gonna do me something here. That's the difference between me and what I allow in my chat and what I don't. We have a troll come in here, and I know Steve has them in his chats. I'm not gonna sit here and let a troll come in here. That's the difference between me and them. Okay? So, it's just one of them things. I'm trying to help people, and I know Steve really means well. I like Steve. He's trying to help people, and the only thing we can do is what we are doing. Speak up and try to give people sound advice. And that's what I've been doing here tonight is to try to give people sound advice. I don't like to see guys go out and commit suicide like what recently happened to a TFLer because he lived his life so stressed out over not being able to get a woman in his life. And that it ate him from the inside out. That's why I brought up my videos from years ago when I did the True Force Loneliness videos that I put up when I first came on the scene. I told people then it eats you from the inside out. And it will completely destroy you. It will consume you and destroy you if you allow it to. You have to be the one to change that. I can't do it for you. Steve can't do it for you. Steve and I could give you sound advice, but you have to be the one to do the work to remove that stress off your shoulders because that's crucial. I don't want to see guys going out and committing suicide over this. I understand how he felt, but I also know what it did to him. It did exactly what I told people years ago. It ate him from the inside out to the point that he just couldn't take it no more and he offed himself. Not good. That type of stuff I want to see go away. And you have to remove your body language so the women don't pick up on it. And the only way you're going to do that is to take the stress off your shoulders. If you don't remove the stress off your shoulders, then the only thing you're going to do is tear yourself up. And the only advice I can give you to help you get the stress off your shoulders is, it's like with Steve Holka. The man's out there holding a career down. He's working his tail off, okay, to make a living. But also, when he puts his mind in his job, he's not allowing himself to be stressed out over not having a woman in his life. Okay, which helped him. Okay, believe it or not, that actually helped him. You work a full-time job and you can't get somebody in life. You got to go out in the day. You got to get out of your house and go meet people. So you got to learn how to communicate. Communicate. And right now they're breaking down our communication skills. So learn how to communicate. Once you've learned how to communicate again, go out there. But don't go out there with the intent of meeting somebody. Go out there with the intent of being yourself, to have fun. I mean, don't go out there worrying about trying to impress no female. Go out there to have fun and be yourself. Because you remove the stress off your shoulders, the woman's not going to pick up the body language. Then if you meet somebody, you're not going to be screaming body language that's going to run her off. Then take your time and just be yourself. Don't change yourself for no woman. Don't become a simp for any woman. Be yourself. She needs to love you for who you are, not who she wants you to be. If she can't like you for who you are, get away from her. Run. That's how I would handle that. If she can't like you for who you are, run. Because you need to like her for who she is, and she needs to like you for who you are. It's not about who wears the pants in the family. It's never been about who wears the pants in the family. Because when it becomes about who wears the pants in the family, what you're really doing is calling the other party a slave. That's really what you're doing. It's not about enslavement, but no, nowadays women are wanting the men's role, and they're wanting the men's role, and they also want their own role. The only thing they don't want about the man's role is the responsibility. The bad things, the perks that they don't want. They only want the good perks of man's, that's what women want. They want to be the man, but they still want to be the woman, but they don't want any of the bad things of being a man, like responsibility. So they try to shove the responsibility back onto the man. You can't let them do that. If she's going to do that, go the other way. It's like with my wife. She's got a cousin who lives out in Florida where I used to live for years. Okay? She went 2 years in a row. She went to see her cousin. She wanted to go see her cousin. So she has to work and put up her money. I'm not paying her trip there. No, I'm not. I allow her to work and put up her money. She still has to help out with bills in the house. Yep, that's right. She still has to help pay bills in the house. And she has to work and put up money to save up so that she can take herself there. That's how I handle that. I don't play into gender roles. I never have. I'm not going to be because I'm a guy that I owe you this. No, I don't. And neither do you as a man. You don't owe her nothing. You owe her absolutely nada. And she don't owe you nada neither. See, so even though I have a wife here, see, she's gone 2 years in a row now, summertime. She's taken herself a vacation in Florida. And both times, she had to put her own money up. No lie, that's fact. Do I allow her to get by? Yes, there's drama. How would you expect there not to be drama in today's society? She's a product of the same programming that we all went through, right? Okay. But the difference between me and a lot of guys is I don't put up with it. I stand up to her, and when she freaking cops a bad attitude with me, I give her it right back. No, I know she don't like it, but I don't like it neither, right? And so I tell her straight up, just as it is. I'm going to treat you the way you treat me. And if you don't want me treating you that way, then you'll stop treating me that way. You should have seen it the one day I was reaching in the grocery. We went to the store and got groceries. And I'm reaching into my trunk, pulling out groceries. And she started saying, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, with an attitude. So I let go of the groceries and I stepped back and I says, oh, you can go faster. Then get them. Okay? She reaches in the trunk to get the groceries and I started pushing her. Faster, faster, you're not fast enough. Go, go, go. I actually did that to her. And why did I do that to her? Because she done it to me. Believe me, she never did it again. Yes, I'm an asshole that way. But it's not about being an asshole. It's about treating each other the way you want to be treated yourself. And when she mistreats me, I mistreat her back. No, I don't abuse her. No, I do not physically hit her. I only do unto her as she does unto me. This morning when I went on Steve's show with him, she was sitting right next to me on this bed. Now tonight she's at her mother's house, just so you know, okay? She's not even here. She went to her family's for Thanksgiving because I did Thanksgiving yesterday. Why did I do Thanksgiving a day early? Slaughter day? The genocide day? Why did I do it early? Because everybody in my house was going to be here and we had company over. So I did it up yesterday. It's done with, over with. Today came along, genocide day was here. She went to her family's house and had it over there again, so she's had two of them. Two genocide days for her. Okay, that's fine. And it wouldn't matter. She was sitting right here when I went live with Steve. Most of the time when I do a video, she's sitting right here. She hears everything I say. I don't hide nothing from her. So for these guys who think you gotta hide it from her, no, you don't. Why should you hide it from her? What is it? You gotta be scared because you're talking about something she may not like? Tough shit. She likes you for who you are. She can shut the door, hit her on that ass on the way out. See, that's who I am. And I know a lot of guys can't, they just don't get that concept. They really don't. Yeah, I believe it. We have trolls. I just, if they start freaking, if they say too much out of line in this chat, they won't be here. I'm not Steve. I'll remove them. I've already removed one from this live stream already. So if this Calvin's a troll and he wants to start stuff, he won't be here very long. Because that's how I'll handle it. I'll just say bye. Now I won't even tell him bye. I'll just remove him. It's Steve's live stream over there, Steve's channel, and Steve will do what Steve wants to do. I'm not Steve's boss or dictator, okay? But when I'm doing a live stream, trolls come over here and think they're going to have fun. They'll find out my name ain't Steve and they'll be gone. Because I'm not going to play the game. I don't care. I don't have to have trolls in here disturbing everybody and calling names and acting like little children. If I wanted children in here, I would have I would be doing a live stream for children. I might have Bugs Bunny on. I might be talking about Yosemite Sam. Who knows what I'd be talking about? Maybe the Pink Panther. But I wouldn't be talking about what I'm talking about now because it'd be for children. And that's what trolls are, is children. They're people who failed to grow up. So when I see a child come into my chat and act like a child, I just remove them. They don't belong here. This is for adults. Yep, that's how I feel about that. So, Calvin's a troll. If he's a child, once I see he's being a child, I'll just take him out and he won't be here no more. If he wants to be an adult, keep his mouth shut and listen. I'm not going to interfere. If he wants to treat people with respect, I'll leave him alone. I haven't noticed him until just now when you brought him up, but I'll keep my eye on him. If he acts like a child, he'll be gone. You won't have to worry about him no more. I'll just remove him. It's as simple as that. And he won't be here no more. Because that is how I'll do it. I got a feeling the Steve Hoka character is just that too, a troll. I don't even think it's the real Steve. But he's not saying no more because if I catch him saying the wrong shit, I'll remove him too. Because it's not about removing the real Steve Hoka, but the phonies. Yeah, they're children. And I do remove children, okay? Because this is an adult conversation, not a child's conversation. No, that ain't going to happen, Patrick. Dwayne lost his mind years ago. Matter of fact, Dwayne's probably some of these trolls that's been trolling Steve. Matter of fact, that's probably Dwayne Holloway doing some of that trolling. Yeah, Dwayne Holloway is a TFLer, but he's attacking other TFLers rather than supporting them. He's living himself, so, because he's suffering, he thinks that you all should suffer like him. Because he failed to grow up. He lost his mind. That's all I can say about Dwayne. It's too bad. It's sad that he went and lost his mind, but he did. There's nothing I can do about that. I'm sure some of it came from his upbringing by his mother. But Dwayne didn't do himself any justice or any favors there. Dwayne most likely is one of the trolls trolling Steve right now. Because I'm sure Dwayne was dead set against me and Steve talking. I know Dwayne. And I'm sure he was dead set against us talking, so he tried to interfere with that. Dwayne could very well be your phony Steve Hoka. Because that is Dwayne's mentality. Dwayne is a troll. Matter of fact, you can ask Kevin that. Kevin was in this chat, and I'm not saying he's still here, but Kevin's witnessed it himself when it comes to Dwayne Holloway. Kevin has actually witnessed this himself, and he knows. Dwayne likes being a troll, and he'll come around and attack. And as far as Warren goes, I've talked to him in a couple of days now. Today's a holiday, so I didn't attempt to even talk to him. Warren and I'll be getting together again. Will I get Warren on Steve's show? I don't know. That's up to Steve. If I can get Steve to get Zoom, then I could do a recording with, or I could do a live stream, and we could have Warren on as well. Okay, Warren would be all in for that. Warren's totally in for this stuff. I was even talking with Mitchell. Maybe we'll have Steve, myself, Warren, and Mitchell together. Just give us some time. Let things play out. Steve and I are talking again, and Steve does mean well, and I have no intentions on letting things go afoul. It's time to freaking grow up, and not let things go afoul, and let Steve and me be able to work together again off and on and stay friends, and that's as it should be, okay? That's how I feel about that. That's exactly what it should be. And for people who try to interfere with that, there's not too many people who's going to interfere with that, except for TFLers who are wanting to attack other TFLers like Dwayne. People who really have some mental issues going on that need to straighten their own act up. But I can't make them straighten their own act up. They have to straighten themselves out. But I come up here tonight because I felt that I wanted to do this earlier, and I seen Steve was doing the show. Hell by the Dashboard Light was doing the show. So I waited a while, and then I come up and did this live stream. Okay, I see some people wanting me to go back on there with Steve tonight, but I had already planned on doing this, so I just held off. I'm not too worried about it. I got Steve's numbers in my phone. I can call him if I want to talk to him, and we'll set something up again, and I'll go back on the show with Steve again eventually. I'm not going to just disappear out of there. So, I think it's good that me and Steve are talking again. I'm happy. I'm actually satisfied with that. I really am. I can't say much about staying insane amongst the insanity, other than my feelings are what they are. He needs to drop the subject with Steve and move on with his life. As he's told other people he was going to do, instead of staying focused on Steve, because then he's doing the opposite of what he told everybody. And he can no longer criticize Steve for doing the opposite of he's going to do it himself, now can he? You know, Staying insane amongst the insanity has said some good stuff in his videos. I'm not going to take that away from the guy. I don't know the guy personally. I'm only going to say that, right now I definitely see there's an issue going on there, and I'm going to side with Steve on this because the issue seriously right now is staying insane is the one with the issue. It's not Steve. Staying insane is actually the one with the issue. Okay, and he's the have to, that's why I told Steve earlier tonight. I told Steve or this morning. I told Steve ignore, ignore, ignore. Because that's all he can do. If you don't talk about staying insane too much and just don't reply to anything he says, pretty soon staying insane will become bored of it and he'll drop it. But really, technically, Steve has to not bring up staying insane anymore for that to work. Steve's going to literally have to not bring him up even if he made a video about him. Not acknowledge it at all. And just move on like he don't even exist. If Steve does that, eventually staying insane amongst his sanity will go away. He'll stop. I don't know what his problem or his obsession is right now. I really don't. I don't understand it. But I'm not going to get involved in it neither. But I'm not going to side with staying insane because right now, he is clearly the problem, not Steve. Okay? If he disagrees or not, it doesn't matter because nobody 100% agrees upon anything. Okay? That's just the fact of life. So I'm going to leave that one alone. But I wanted to get up here tonight, and I did want to do a little bit on the dating scene, and I wanted to let people know and try to give some sound advice that could help some of these TFLers, okay? Because they need to lift the stress off their shoulders, and that's what I want to see. I want to see people be able to get the stress off their shoulders, your TFLers, and not let it consume them because it will eat them from the inside out. And it will completely destroy them, and they'll end up killing themselves, just like what we've seen recently. And we don't have to allow that to happen. We just got to be we got to be a little bit smarter than that. I know we live in a very wicked, evil time, man, where the genders are so divided. People don't know how to communicate anymore. They're treating each other like dirt. Even in the men's arena, on the men's side, whatever you want to call it, the men's atmosphere, however you want to word it, when it comes to men, you see it all the time. Men throwing men under the bus. Men doing anything, shitting all over another man just to impress some woman. And that type of behavior has to stop. It really does. The incel killers will increase into the new few decades. Well, the killing and the things that you've seen going on will increase. Yeah, how's it not? George Sidini's will be more of them, yes. I will not use Elliot Rogers because that was a psyop. Elliot Rogers wasn't even real. The guy was an actor. His daddy was the director of Hunger Games. He was part of Hollywood. Guaranteed Elliot Rogers wasn't even his name. Guaranteed he's alive and healthy and well. Oh, no lie, fact. That was a complete lie. That was psyop. But George Sidini, that was quite real. Will there be more George Sidinis? Very well possible. Very well possible. I would hope not, but you know what? I have to agree with you. As the decades move on, this problem continues to grow, and they'll wind up with more George Sadinis. And I don't want to see it happen, but I'm not the one that created the problem. I mean, the problem's here because it's been deliberately created by the powers to be that has divided all of us. Okay, and you cannot push one gender completely out of society and keep male bashing them over and over and over and over and over. That's why I said what I said about women earlier in this live cast. I cannot hold any woman accountable anymore. I mean, credible. I'm not going to give any woman the time of day in TFL anymore as far as being credible until they earn that right. That's right, until they earn that right. Because too many women want to come in here and pretend they're all supporting the men and they're on the men's side with a motive behind the scene they're not telling you about, and that is to destroy TFL or to shut us up. So until I see women do what women should be doing, they're not going to get any response out of me. If women want to prove themselves to me, they're going to have to get out there and they're going to have to start picketing Hollywood. They're going to start making an outcry about all the male bashing in our commercials and our sitcoms and our movies, about all the putting the men down. When I see women marching for men's rights on that to stop that, then and only then. But as long as women want to act like children and dodge all responsibility and think they can have all the man's rights plus their own and throw all the bad perks like responsibility back onto the man and not stand up for what's right for men against the criminals, then no, sorry. I stand with Steve. This is men's topic only. Women ain't allowed until they earn their place in here. And I don't see that happening anytime soon. I really don't. But I think with that being said, guys, I'm going to get on out of here. I think I've been here long enough when I've been here about an hour and 45 minutes already, haven't I? Or something like that. But I'm going to jump on out of here, and I appreciate you all showing up. Don't worry, I'll be doing some more live streams, and hopefully maybe I can get something together with Warren and Mitchell and Steve, and we can all jump into one stream. Gotta get Joy, gotta get Steve to get Zoom, though. I really do. Because I can do it so much better with Zoom. Okay? But with that being said, guys, I'm going to get on out of here and you all have a good one. Okay? With that being said, I'm out of here, guys. You all have a good one.